Once upon a time, a man named John climbed a mountain near the town of Pine Ridge and encountered a plump yellow weasel. Surprisingly, instead of fleeing, the weasel stood upright and bowed to John. Amused by the creature's manners, John greeted it with a bow as well, saying, "Greetings, Your Excellency. I didn't know you were here. Please accept my respect." But when he returned home, he heard strange noises coming from his daughter Sarah's room. Rushing in, he was horrified to find his daughter lying naked on the bed, unconscious, with the yellow weasel from the mountain on top of her, engaging in a vile act. John cursed the creature and tried to pull it off, but the weasel bit his hand, growling menacingly before continuing its disgusting deed, completely ignoring John's presence. Furious and heartbroken, John grabbed his hunting rifle, intending to kill the weasel, but feared the shot might harm his daughter. Instead, he decided to trick the weasel into getting off the bed first. However, the creature seemed to mock John, wiggling its backside in defiance as if to show it had the upper hand. The weasel continued its assault until finally, with a shudder and a few sharp cries, it collapsed on top of Sarah, then lazily got up, gave a satisfied shake, and strutted out of the house, leaving John in a state of shock and despair. Sarah woke up soon after and rushed her father to a doctor, saving his life just in time. As John recovered, the weasel's attacks grew bolder. Every time it harmed Sarah, it would kill a few chickens or empty the family's grain sacks, as if to further torment them. Sarah, hearing the full truth from her father, wept bitterly but eventually resigned to her fate, begging the weasel to stop its antics and do as it pleased. With Sarah's reluctant consent, the weasel took up residence in their home, hunting in the mountains by day and creeping into her bed at night, behaving as though it were the rightful son-in-law of the household. 2.5 months later, John decided to risk everything in a final showdown, especially after learning that his daughter was pregnant. The creature wasn't invincible. It could be defeated if one could break its demonic magic. He learned from a wise woman that the menstrual blood of a woman could break the creature's spell. So he secretly collected a bowlful and waited for the right moment. One night, with the bowl of blood in one hand and his ancestral hunting knife in the other, he burst into Sarah's room. The weasel, caught in the act, leaped off the bed. Despite its fat appearance, it was as agile as a monkey. John threw the bowl of blood at the creature, but it dodged, the blood spilling uselessly. Determined, John charged with his knife, forcing the weasel into a frantic escape around the room. His knife, sharp from years of hunting, finally caught the weasel, whose cries grew more frantic as it tried to escape. But with nowhere to go, it got trapped on the bed, where the blood-soaked sheets burned it like acid. With one swift stroke, John decapitated the weasel, then skinned it and hung its pelt from the eaves of his house, whipping it daily in a symbolic act of revenge. The next day, word spread of a strange occurrence in Maplewood. The local coffin maker's shop had been haunted by a floating coffin, which a disciple of the fox deity, Old Man Fox, claimed was the work of a powerful mountain spirit exacting revenge. John knew then that his troubles were far from over. Rushing home, he found a black coffin standing in his yard and his daughter hanging lifeless from the rafters. Grief-stricken, John set out to avenge his daughter. The disciple told him that the creature he had killed was just a minor spirit, but the one he was up against now was a supreme being among the wild spirits, known as the Zong Tiao Ba Zi. If he wanted revenge, he would have to seek out a feng shui master named William Hunter in Appalachia, who could empower his knife to kill the creature. John spent 3 months begging his way to the village of Stone Ridge, where he found the master. After hearing John's tale, the master agreed to help, marking out a sacred site where the knife could be buried and empowered to slay the evil spirit after 2.5 years. But before the time came, John died of illness, leaving his vendetta to his 3-year-old grandson, believing that the boy was the reincarnation of his lost son. However, after John's death, the master, feeling some guilt, abandoned the plan, knowing that no such magic could empower a knife in that way. As for the Zong Tiao Ba Zi, it never forgot John's insult. Years later, it tracked down John's descendants, leading to a final confrontation that would see the spirit's end.